Welcome to Ecclesia Principles, a biblical strategy for believers to engage in God's design for government with Ray Eppard.
Hello, glad to be with you again today. Today we'll be reading from Matthew 16:18, and we're going to talk about, if you would, the importance of the church being the ecclesia and how it really fits into God's plan. It says in Matthew 16:18, Jesus says, "And I also say to you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, my ecclesia, and the gates of hell or Hades shall not prevail against it." We've seen that the word ecclesia historically is the name for the legislative body of the Greek city-states. Evidently, Jesus wants us to be engaged in the civic arena. The word church comes from an entirely different Greek word. Now, with this, that aspect is not seen very clearly at all in the church today. But I want to go back, if you would, in your memory, to the temptation of Jesus. When Satan told him, he said, "If you'll bow down and worship me," it says, and he showed Jesus all the kingdoms of the world and the glories of them. He said, "If you'll bow down and worship me, I'll give you all of this." See, now a temptation for it to be real, it has to be something that you want. You see, and if you look at the plan of God, it's God's plan for all the nations of the world to be given to Christ. Now, where does this fit with the ecclesia and civic involvement? Well, let's just take a quick comparison of two types of nations. Won't get into a debate about it, but politically speaking, America is a Christian nation because our laws and our system are based on the Bible. Doesn't mean that we're perfect or follow the Bible completely. It's just our system is based on the Bible. In Islam, the system, their legal system, their governmental structure is based on the Quran. That's why it's called an Islamic nation. A communist nation, its structure, its laws are built on the writings of Marxism, and that makes it a communist nation. Now, with this, here's the comparison. Here's why it matters in this time. Why it matters in this time for Christians to be engaged in the civic arena. Let me ask you, historically speaking, you have America, which is a Christian nation, based on that, based on, where our system is founded on biblical principles, and Islamic nations. Where, in which one of those countries, is it easier for people to hear the gospel? Islam has largely closed the doors for the gospel. So if you would, in that, which type of nation is it easier to go to heaven in? The one where the gospel's preached. And you see, with this, that's why it is so important for Christians to become involved in the civic arena, because if we don't, it will move into one of these other forms. It will. Right now, it's moving towards socialism, which is the prelude to communism. Not that every one of them goes all that far, but the bottom line is that's the system we're moving toward right now. And in socialist systems, the gospel does not have a preeminence. It's not wide open. It's important that we get engaged in the civic arena so that the gospel can be preached. God bless you. Have a
By
great day.
Victory Worship Center and World Outreach. Services Sunday 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock. 200 Hammond Lane, Stanton, Virginia.